Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing my reading wrap up for the month of March and April. So it's been a while since I've done a wrap up, and I've I've realized it's now like 2 months have gone by. So I'm going to try and do my wrap up for both months. To be fair, I didn't read like a super large amount, so it's not like it's gonna be a super long wrap up. But anyways, I'll jump into it. So in March, I think March was just a regular reading month, but then in April I was doing the magical readathon. Um, so yeah, spoiler, I did not complete my goal to be a bard, but I mean, who's surprised? I'm not. Anyways, so I'll start with March. I read a decent amount in March, but yeah, let's jump into it. So the first one I read in March was Bitter Blue. This was to round off that trilogy, although it's not really a trilogy anymore because more books have been added to this series. But I had read Graceling and Fire a long time ago, so I just decided I wanted to read Bitter Blue to like finish that off for myself. Um, Although I do have the arcs of the other ones, so I don't know if it's actually finished off. But anyways, I guess just I can say I continued that series. I enjoyed this one. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of build up, which I remember I had that same feeling for the other books. There's a lot of build up, and it's kind of like a slow burn, I guess, throughout the whole thing. I Even when it got to the end, like I didn't feel like it was a huge ending or like any big revelation. It just like it felt like a similar pace all the way through. So yeah, that's why it didn't like go up to the 5 stars because personally I really like a fast paced plot. But I think that the characters in this one were very intricately woven into the story, and you got to learn a lot about each person, and there's a lot of characters that come back from like other books in the series, so you get to like see those characters again. So it was nice to like have all of that play out. I can't go too much into the storyline because this is the third one in a series, so I won't do any more. I'll just leave it at that. But it was a good feeling to like revisit this world. I enjoyed that. So yeah, that one was a fun one, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Beautiful Game. This is a graphic novel about a soccer team. It's an English soccer team, and it's about like a local soccer team, so it's like a group that's playing for this local team, and they're trying to like rise up in the ranks, and they play a whole bunch of different like districts as the graphic novel goes on, and it's just kind of the story of that, and some of the characters are like some of the team members, and they're going through personal things. Specifically, some of the team members on this soccer team are twins, and at some points the twins are switching places. They're both really good at soccer, but like one twin will get into trouble with the law, so the other one will like sub in while they're not there, and and so it was just, yeah, I like the story of this underdog team kind of working their way up the ranks in the like soccer world. It was a decent read. I would probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars, just because like I'm not typically drawn towards the more like sports related graphic novels, but I still wanted to give this one a try, and I thought it was a decent read. Then next up, I did a buddy read of Find You First. I buddy read this with Miriam, the bookworm teacher. That's their name on Instagram if you want to go check them out. We had a lot of fun reading this thriller. It's written in a way that like all the chapters are super short, and you get to keep switching perspectives of different characters in this book. So it was really fun to try and like figure this one out. And it was a very fast-paced book, which is something I loved. It kept me pulled in. I wanted to keep reading after every chapter because they always like ended on something that left you wanting more. This one's following a main character who is like a very rich, wealthy man because he's the creator of like some app, and he realizes that he's dying. So what he wants to do is he at some point in his youth he was a donator for a sperm bank, and he realized that he fathered a bunch of children. And so what he wants to do is find these children to get to know them, to see like who he can spread his wealth to when he passes. And so that's kind of like this story is him trying to find these kids, so that, well, I mean, they're all like older now, but his kids, he wants to find them to learn more about them. But somebody also finds this list of these kids and has started murdering them or like making them disappear in certain ways. And it is quite intense. You're following so many different like threads while reading this book, trying to figure it out, and it is quite a fun time. I believe I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. It was just a very action-packed book, and I didn't want to put it down. And it was the same with Miriam. Like the two of us kept going back and forth, being like, what is happening here? I know I shared some theories with them, which were wrong. I wish I was right, but no, I was totally wrong. And they shared some theories with me, and it was great. Although she was a lot faster to read it than I was. So yeah, but it was a great time. And that's only because it's a big chunker of a book. Although even it being a chunker, like I still feel like I went through it pretty quickly. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. And then the last book I read from March was Half a War. This was to finish off this trilogy. I read the other two books previously a long time ago, so it was nice to jump back into this world again. I think this one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars, where the other ones I gave 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars just because I found it was a little like slow in the beginning, and then once you like really get into the world and like come to some realizations, it's pretty intense. But it was just slow for me to feel invested in this story. And in this trilogy, like you're following one character for the first book, then you're following another character for the second book, and then the third book is a whole new character again. So you still get some of those characters coming back from the other books, but it's more like trying to get you invested in a new person at the end of the series. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It just wasn't like a standout read of the month. And also I can't say much more about it because it's the last book in a series. So yeah. Okay, so next up we're going to jump into my April TBR. But before that, I'm going to talk about today's video sponsor, which is the book Karma Never Sleeps. I will show it here. I don't have the physical copy on me anymore because I lent it to my partner's mom to read. But this was a really good thriller that I read back in February, I believe. And it is officially out now, so you can purchase this book. So I want to make you guys aware that it's available for purchase, and I'll put the link in the description down below. But this one is a FBI thriller book, and it's about a detective who goes to this small like suburban town and is investigating these murders because there is a group of like suburban moms that have slowly been like getting picked off. And I say that because it opens with the murder of one of them, and prior to that there was a murder of another woman in this like close knit circle that happened like 6 months before that. So because there's been two and it's been like such a close like knit group and a close time period, it was labeled as like serial killing. And so then now the detective is brought in to investigate. And so it's the journey of them like going through that process, trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, like these people that are in this group are still being like victimized and being sought out by some certain person. So yeah, it's quite intense. It's like a very fast-paced like cat and mouse book, I would say. And I had a lot of fun trying to figure it out. I did figure it out before the reveal, so I was proud of myself for that, but I still think it was like a very satisfying ending. Definitely something that I think you guys will enjoy, and it will keep you on your toes. And you'll get the creepy vibes. There were parts in that book that I remember feeling like, ugh, like if I was in that situation, I would just, I don't know, my heart would be pumping. Definitely one to get you on your toes. All right, now let's jump into my TBR for April. So for the Magical Readathon, I was trying to complete my classes to become a bard. Now, I only had to read 5 books. Unfortunately, I only read 4 books. I didn't quite meet the mark, but that's fine. I'm still going to do like the second semester anyways when it comes around. I think it's in August. I will still do that and I will still do my best. But I tried my best. I got through 4. That being said, there were some bigger books in this pile that I had to read for this. So I'm proud of myself for getting through what I did. So the first one I read was Sunrise on the Reaping. Holy crap. This one was a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I adored this book. I was so excited to jump back into this world. I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, um, but it was just phenomenal. The pacing, the action, the stakes, everything was so good, and it just got me more excited about this world and made me want to rewatch the whole series again. Although I feel like we've done that pretty recently, so I'm not going to do it again, but I really want to. And I was loving seeing all of like the Hunger Games content showing on like social media everywhere as I was reading this, because it was just like, I don't know, it was just so fun. And yeah, there's some new characters that I love in this one. Oh, it was just such a fun time. I really like, I can't say much about it because I don't want to like give any spoilers or anything, but I strongly recommend this book. Like if you like the Hunger Games series, this one will fit in for you perfectly. And I think this is better than A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. 100% way better. So yeah, definitely pick this one up if you get a chance to. Then I read a Daredevil graphic novel. This wasn't actually officially part of my TBR, but I wanted to read a graphic novel outside because we started getting really nice weather. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to bring a graphic novel out there. I'm always hesitant to bring books out there because I've been pooed on by birds multiple times. So it's like, I don't want to get my books pooed on as well. I don't know. I just must have bad luck or something because it's happened frequently. So I was reading a graphic novel and I chose Daredevil Born Again because I also just started watching that new Daredevil show on Disney Plus. And so I was like, well, I might as well read the one that has the same name. So yeah, this one was quite intense. It's not like exactly canon with what's on the show. Like they're not following the same storyline, but this one's following a Daredevil who is going through a rough time because the Kingpin like finds out his identity, and so he's just like completely screwing over his life. At the same time, it's following Karen Page, who is struggling with a drug addiction, and so she is trying to like recover from that and get through like withdrawals, and then Foggy is just doing his own thing. It's quite a journey, but it was also a very intense read. And I did really like the hard like subjects that they faced within this graphic novel. So yeah, I'd probably give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Neveright. Now this was also a 5 out of 5 stars. If I could sum this book up in one word, it would just be murder. or death. This book was quite chaotic, but in all of the best ways. And there was just so much death. Like, I don't even know. I didn't know what to expect going into it. Like, I knew it was a girl who was going to be like studying to be an assassin, but like her going through the whole like, it's like assassin school, but it's called like the church, and she's like going through that. It was so intense. Like, people were dropping like flies in this place, and you didn't know who to trust. And I think that's the whole point too, is like as an assassin you don't know who to trust either. So it was like throwing you left and right with all these different things. People getting murdered, you're like, oh, I wonder who did it, I don't know. And trying to figure that out while she's like trying to like complete her courses to become like a blade, which is what they call like their assassins. And out of like all these students, I think only 4 of them get to actually become blades. So it was a like very high competition level as well. But like a lot of these people were like, it was like life and death in this school. Keyword on the death, because that happened a lot. Yeah, it was very intense, this book. And I thought I had certain parts figured out. I was just like, I felt like I was stabbed in the back at some points because of like some betrayals that happened. Oh my god, it was just crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. It was a wild journey. It was also fun to like read it because there's different perspectives. So one perspective is told in like in a italic font, and then the other perspective is like Mia, the main character. And so it's like somebody's like narrating her history to you, but then you're also getting like her just regular story. And then there's also like little footnotes throughout the book that give little tidbits of other information about the world that we're in, which I thought was really fun. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it going into it because I thought that it might be a little bit distracting, but like I actually enjoyed the little tidbits of information, and I think that they really added to the story. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. I will definitely be continuing this series for sure, like because this was a 5 stars, and I mean Marcus told me I would like this one too, and lo and behold, of course I did. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be continuing the series, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. And then the last book I read was As You Walk On By. This was one of my books from my NetGalley TBR, and this was a contemporary one about a teen who has kind of like a promposal disaster at a party, and so then they try and go and hide at the party and end up in a room full of other people at the party that are also trying to hide from certain things, and kind of like form this little ragtag group of friends. It was actually really nice. Like it was a very cozy vibe, I would say. It deals with a lot of intense like feelings in this book, and it deals with like the subject of being part of the LGBTQ community and having your friends like stand up for you in the ways that they should. I thought that was really cool. It also dealt with the pressures of like being a kid and having parents like pressure them to have their life go a certain way and not like have that choice to do what they want. It was very enlightening in certain ways, and I found that the friendships were very genuine in this book. Some of them, keyword some of them, that was really like, it was just a nice cozy feeling to read, and yeah, it made my heart warm. There was like parts where it was talking about how, because the main character is gay, and it was talking about how they don't really get that standard like prom experience, because everybody's like, when you see promposals, it's always like for boys proposing to girls, and like you don't really often see that gay experience with the whole prom thing. And so it was like him trying to get that for himself, and it was really beautiful, like the way the book played it all out. Yeah, I did really enjoy it. I think I would give this one probably a 4 out of 5 stars. And those are all the books that I read in the past 2 months. So not a super large amount, but I did my best, and I had a fun time with them. And I will say there were some bangers in here, so it's been a fun time. I was very happy with that. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me know if you guys have any books that you read in the past 2 months that like really stood out to you or were like top reads. Then yeah, definitely tell me about them. Anyways, that's it for my video, guys. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos, I usually say on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but at this point, I'm posting them kind of sporadically because I'm just filming them when I have time. So I'll do my best to keep a schedule, but I post my videos when I post my videos. And until next time, keep on reading.